questions for you.
Oh my gosh. Well, Miss Lyman is here. Let me put my box in. Well, firstly, welcome to the warehouse here at Heidi Doss, where all of the elves are very, very busy pulling all of your lovely pretties for the holiday season and then some. And, we wanted to do this because we know that a lot of people have questions about my bike trip. So,
okay,
Lyman, far away, baby.
Okay.
By the way, you look smashing.
Thank you. You love my new necklace? Ladies, tune in. This is coming up soon with the beautiful earrings.
I told you she's tiny. Look at how tiny she is. Well, let's see. And she wears all of the biggest, most incredible necklaces that we own. So let's hear it. Let's hear it, baby. What are the questions?
Okay, so we want to know what inspired you to do this bike trip. Now, I know that you're athletic and you did the triathlon before.
Yes, I did. Yes, I did.
Tell us about it.
Well, I've been on a bit of a health craze and, working out like a lunatic. And, I had this window of opportunity where I wasn't going to be on TV in October,
right.
I think, yeah, right? Or I was on I can't remember. Anyway, there was a window. But what I was doing is I was watching or listening to this podcast of this French gal. It's called Join Me in France I have it on Spotify. And she's a lovely French woman, and she always interviews and has these wonderful topics that she discusses. And she was interviewing a girl who had just done a bike trip and cycled all over France. And I thought, wow, biking and France all at the same time. Well, that sure sounds fun.
Yeah, cruising too.
Well, this was a bike. Now, normally, what makes this so interesting is that what made my trip was so interesting was after I listened to this and understood that you were staying in these fabulous hotels, this girl was telling us, but every day, you would bike all day and then you would get to your hotel. Maybe you would sleep there overnight, maybe 2 nights, but you would have to pick all your stuff up, pack it up, and a van would then drive it to your next location.
Oh, that's a lot of work.
It's not so bad, but yeah. So then I just thought, well, and then I just started Googling bike trips. And then I found out that this company exists, or companies exist, that do these bike tours via ships. And so you get onto the ship, you unpack, and then the boat goes down the river or the Adriatic Sea in my case, and you stay in one place or you sleep in one spot the entire time.
Okay, so you went to Dubrovnik.
Dubrovnik. Yes.
So tell us a little bit about that.
Okay, well, if you love the Middle Ages, if you love that incredible old architecture, if you love the Game of Thrones, which was filmed there.
Yes.
So, it's mind-blowing how incredible this city is. And so well preserved and so beautiful. And it's fairly large. And, it's just a magnificent. You should try to look it up on your computer. It is really, everybody should see this place. It's absolutely gorgeous. Yeah.
Okay. Did you go with anyone?
No, I went by myself. I didn't know a soul. But I figured, we had to be like-kind people who were doing this crazy trip. Yeah. So I was by myself.
Okay, so it was a cruise and a biking tour at the same
Yes,
time.
yes.
Did you bring the bike with you?
You had the opportunity to do that, but in my case, I don't own a bike, so I didn't have one to bring, so I rented one.
Okay.
Yeah, and you had your choice of renting a regular kind of bike, like with regular handles, or the racing bike, or an electric bike. that
Okay.
was available in either style as well.
Oh.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, but you know the whole this tour company was they're tandem bike makers, a bicycle built for two.
Oh wow.
That's what they're known for, and that's how they started. They had it was all tandem riders in the very beginning, and then they got asked if singles could come, and now I would say it's maybe 70% singles and 30% tandem riders.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's really very interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, did you train to do this? I mean,
Well, not I was on my bike, on my Peloton and my stationary bike. So, and I do it pretty well, and I do pretty difficult classes. So I like to think I was in pretty good shape. But I think that if you're thinking about doing this, anybody can do this. You do not have to be like a crazy super athlete to do this at all, because you have the options of not just choosing your bike, the ride of the day, which you had three choices. You could go like really easy, kind of middle of the road, and then pretty tough.
So how many miles do you ride each day, pretty much, like on an average?
Okay. When I was there, we rode from 20 to 50 miles a day.
Wow.
25 to 50. Yeah. 30 to 50. Yeah. A lot.
Well, that's a
I mean,
lot.
it sounds crazy, but and I made so many lovely friends, and one in particular, my Catherine, who was clearly a pro. And as I said in my first video, like when I got there, everybody has the jersey and the shorts and the fancy socks and shoes and the helmet and the gloves.
Wow.
And I was, no.
Okay, so that leads me to my next question. You didn't have all that club and all that stuff, but did you have your sparkling glittery?
Of course I did. I had my bike pin, and I did bring. I think I felt like I really brought the perfect jewelry for the whole thing. Because it was casual. You got dressed at night. You didn't you could wear your high heels, but most people were really casual and just looked lovely. Not crazy dolled up.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh.
So I felt like I brought really appropriate things. But back to your other question. So, as a newbie, I had never done anything like this before. So Catherine, my new girlfriend, who I can tell you right now, she was certainly not her first rodeo.
Wow.
She had, she knew what she was doing. She had what happens is you downloaded an app to your phone called Ride GPS, and it literally gave you, I'm going to show you girls, your directions, and it mounted to my handlebars, so I could then follow directions. And if you went off course, it would go deet deet, and you knew you had to turn around. Let me see if I can find this yet, because I want to show you. And you had your choices, and I'll show you that because you could see. Here, let me show you this, if you can see this. These were the different routes throughout the entire trip, and we would click on those in the. We would have a meeting in the evening and in the morning to talk about the different routes.
Right. So,
that
so
color
you
on you,
travel-
Lyman, looks unbelievable.
oh, thank
It
you.
looks so pretty.
Thank you.
It really does.
So did you travel in packs, or you kind of roll by yourself at your own speed?
Well, everybody, you could have, but people kind of gathered together. I kind of latched onto my poor Catherine. She probably was like, "Get this person," but I knew she knew what she was doing,
Right.
and if I followed her, I knew I would be safe.
Right.
And she's so lovely. So yeah, we had a lot of fun. we had a lot of fun. We did get lost, and we had a marvelous time getting lost.
Oh,
You know,
nice.
but there were moments where you couldn't fall back too far because you had to catch ferries, you had to catch buses.
Wow.
Yeah, because it was a very active week.
So was it only biking? What else could you do? Like, I think you said you took like different tours, right?
Yes, we did. That was what I really loved about it. It was not just strictly biking. It was lots of history. The man that runs the place, that runs the company, is clearly a historian. He loves history, and brought us to magnificent places, and with tours and tour guides, and like getting to an olive farm was fantastic. Literally taking the grapes off the olives off the olive trees with this machine.
Wow.
I mean, it was so cool.
Did you get to taste the olive? I believe you did. I saw a video of that.
Woo! That was, right off the trees. Wow. Yeah.
I think they have to be processed and stuff like that.
Yes, for sure. And there's olives for olive oil and for eating. Mm-hmm. And it was this sour.
Yeah. I believe one of your other stops were to a truffle farm.
Yes, that was amazing to watch the truffle dogs in action.
Oh, that was so cute.
And we had a really tough ride that morning, and so give me a little toughness, and I am going to be very hungry. So we stopped at this restaurant. And I have the video. I hope I can find it. That everybody had pasta, and then they would take the black truffle and right onto the top of the pasta.
Wow.
I went up twice. You'd rather clothe me than feed me, girls.
Oh.
I'm telling you.
So the people that went on the trip, but that did not bike.
Yeah.
They stayed on the cruise, or
you had the choice. Like even anybody could have chose to not ride that day, or every single day we did something really cool, like go to some fabulous 1,000-year-old Diocletian's palace, and all of these really, really cool places. Including the truffle farm and the winery, that a bus would pick up the non-riders and take them, to other stops along the way, and always meet up with the bike riders at that location, at that destination.
Wow, that's great.
Yeah.
Because if you're traveling with someone and your partner does not want to go, at least they have something to do.
Exactly.
That is wonderful.
Yes.
Now, everybody wants to know how was the food there?
Oh, it was so good. It was so good. It's very much in Croatia, a Mediterranean diet. So very rich in, of course, the seafood, and the what are those pointy things that latch onto rocks? And they're
orchard.
What are they called? Not conch. They're pointy, and they hurt if you get stung or something. I forget what they're called, but they were everywhere. You could look down in the water, and they were all over.
Wow!
You wouldn't starve there if you were, on an island somewhere. You would. There was plenty.
Wow.
Yeah, and they had lots of orange trees, and I saw, what are they called? The the little fruit that's kind of brown, and it's green in the inside. What am I thinking? It's this big. Oh,
brown. Kiwi.
Kiwi. Did you know how kiwis grow?
No.
I don't know why. I always thought it was like a tree. They
not a
grow
tree?
like a vine, like grapes. There was like a trellis across this house, and all these kiwis were just dripping down.
Wow.
Yeah, it was
That's
very cool. Yeah. So seeing like that kind of stuff to me was fascinating.
That's really nice. Now, was this a life-changing experience for you?
You bet it was. Woo! It was. I really, I guess when you say such a powerful a statement like that, it was to me because I've never, of course, done anything like it. And, it kind of sounds like out there and crazy, like, where are you going? What are you doing?
Right.
And by yourself. And to do that and meet such wonderful people who are like-minded and kind of like, like we are, like our jewelry family is, birds of a feather. It was really wonderful because to spend, if you have some time to take a vacation, I think, to do it for me in an athletic way is you're really lucky.
So are there any plans for your next adventure?
Oh, girl. There's this little trip, just saying. There is a little trip to Amsterdam, Bruges, and Germany.
Wow.
So that would be Holland, Belgium, and Germany. That's winking at me in May because the tulips will be in bloom then.
Oh, that would be so beautiful.
And can you imagine driving? And also not to say it's pretty flat there in that neck of the woods. At least at the Holland and not Brussels. Belgium is pretty flat compared to Croatia. I mean, like you need to be a mountain goat.
Right.
There were a lot of hills there. Yeah, and one day, Lyman, we went, I think it was like the last day. It was 6 miles up.
Oh,
6 miles. It was tough.
I saw those videos. I was scared.
It was so much fun, though. We had so much fun.
That's great.
Yeah. So that is really my story, and I'm sticking to it.
Wonderful. Thank you, Heidi, for sharing this story with us.
Oh, thank you guys. Thank you so much. And if when I do, hopefully when I pull the trigger and do the next one, you'll come along again.
Okay.
All right.
All right. Keep sparkling with Heidi's jewelry.
Yes. Thank you so much. Do you want to give them a little tiny sneak peek to you?
Sure.
Here she is. Here she comes. Here she comes. Whoa! That's a new one that we're working on. Yay! All right, guys. Thanks so much for tuning in. Love you. Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Oh, yeah. And by the way, there's like literally, I think, let me back up here. I think there's 7 more wreaths across America, wreath pins left. So everybody just picked them up and went nuts. And that holly sprig, you need to stop. That is so cute with those earrings. So happy shopping and thanks so much. Bye, guys. Love you.
Okay. See, I felt like because you kept on talking